Good morning and welcome back in to Wake Up and Ball right here on Roundtable Sports Network. We are back in business. A jam-packed week in the NFL is wrapped up last week with free agency, and now we are on a Monday, March 17th. A lot to get into. So much has happened since the last time we talked together here on Wake Up and Ball. Smash the thumbs up button, everybody. We appreciate each and every single one of you guys tuning in to the show. Good morning, my friend Tony Dow. Welcome.
What's up, Richie? Good morning to you. I'm hoping you had a great weekend. I know you did a lot of traveling and stuff, man. But listen, man, we are here Monday morning. Wake Up and Ball is in full effect. A lot happened this weekend, Richie. I know we're about to get into it, but it was a jam-packed weekend with a lot going on in the NFL, ladies and gentlemen. So get ready to wake up and ball right here on Roundtable Sports. Let's get it.
Absolutely. Big shout out to everybody in the chat right now. We appreciate everybody waiting patiently in the live chat for us to start up the show this morning. We got a lot of people right now, so hit that thumbs up button and show some love here on Roundtable Sports. All right, there's a lot. I don't even know where to begin. There's so much to get into. Chat, where do you guys want us to go to? Because I think we got to go to the biggest news that happened, which is the payday of the Cincinnati Bengals.
Man.
I mean, this is what I expected to happen. I bought into the hype of the Cincinnati Bengals actually doing this, and they came through, paying both Jamar Chase and T. Higgins a historic payday for Jamar, resetting the market, number one. And then at the same time, they announced the news of T. Higgins. And I love that this signing came together and not separate. It's not like Jamar Chase signed and then 3 days later Higgins. It's the same exact timing of the extensions. They're keeping them both together long-term. TD, your thoughts of the Bengals locking up their wide receivers for the future with Joe Burrow?
Good for the Bengals. This is an excellent deal for them. They bring back the core of the offense, and they still got to fix the defense, Richie. But they do bring back the core of the offense, which is huge for Joe Burrow for the future. I like it. A lot of people like, oh, my gosh, their biggest issue is defense, and they're paying for offense. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, you can't go fix the defense and then suffer on the offense. You still got to put up points in this league. And on top of that, this was the right move to make, okay? You keep that offense and you get a better defensive coordinator that can make more happen with the defense. Now, T. Higgins, huge deal, man. He should be very happy. I think he was appropriate, right in line with Waddle and all of those guys. But Jamar Chase, man, $40,250,000 a year, Richie. That is insane. But you know what? It's well worth it. And let me tell you why. He's the most complete receiver in the NFL, in my opinion. Jamar Chase is the most well-rounded, complete receiver in the NFL. He could take off the top. He can win the 50-50 battles. He's a route runner. He's a possession. The comeback routes on the outside, 3rd and 9, and you need a first down. He does it all. He can block. He is the most well-rounded wide receiver in the entire NFL by far, and I really mean that. There is nothing at the receiver position that he cannot do, okay? Aquavision, you are wrong. He is better than Justin Jefferson. Now, is he out there making miraculous plays like Justin Jefferson? No, but once again, remember, I said most well-rounded receiver, doing all the shallow stuff in the 5-yard, 7-yard, 9-yard range. Justin Jefferson ain't doing that unless he wide open on a little out route. But Justin Jefferson ain't battling receivers in 7 yards, fighting for position to catch the ball. See, this is the part that y'all miss. All y'all think about is wide receiver over the top. Who's the biggest deep threat? No, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about every single facet of the wide receiver position. Jamar Chase embodies it at a high level. And that's what you want, man. I'm telling you now, if we had all receivers in the NFL if I had to start my team with one receiver, it's Jamar Chase. Because no matter what the system is, his strengths are going to shine in it. No matter what we do. Weak arm quarterback, strong arm quarterback, quarterback who can throw outside the numbers, quarterback who can throw outside the numbers. He is going to still thrive. So, man, this deal was well deserved. And listen, the next few wide receiver deals won't even get this much.
And I think the biggest narrative from this whole news is not Jamar getting that money. I mean, I expected that personally. This isn't a groundbreaking, what, Jamar got that much money? I think the news is this. Higgins getting the money from the Bengals. And not the money itself, but the fact that the Bengals signed both Higgins and Jamar Chase at the same exact time. I think that's the biggest narrative here. You know, listen, Jamar Chase getting his bag, it's well worth it. The one thing I will say, which is really crazy, is that now he's the highest paid non-quarterback in the league. He surpassed Myles Garrett. Now, that's a little bit like, whoa. Because, in my opinion, Myles Garrett, I don't know. That's kind of what Jamar Chase and his agency wanted to be the highest paid non-quarterback in the league, of course, and they took advantage of it. But do you think it was a smart investment from the Bengals to not only, of course, give Chase this money, which we think is worth it because of the market, but also giving T. Higgins this contract? 2 years of it's guaranteed, so you can look at it as a 2-year contract. They can get out of it. But you look at T. Higgins and the age that he's at, I mean, it'd be pretty shocking for them to want to get rid of him after 2 years, unless he balls out and he wants to get a new payday and he's like, trade me or release me or something. But the Bengals have a philosophy that they wanted to keep their number 1, number 2 receivers together long term. Do you think that's a smart investment, TD? Throw Jamar Chase out of it. Talk about T. Higgins, because that's something that a lot of people are concerned about now, that their defense is not going to be a priority.
Yeah, this is an excellent move. And I like it. T. Higgins is 26 years old. When you look at it, you know, remember they did franchise tag him and he did deal with some injuries, right? If I'm not mistaken, he had some injuries in his rookie contract, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think 2023 he went out. But he was, I mean, to be honest with you, he was on pace, you know, just like Waddle, just like Garrett and all of these guys. His first 4 years, his rookie year, he had 908 yards. Then he put together 1,100-yard season, then 1,000 yards for season. Then he got hurt, but he put up 700 yards for the most part. And last year, same situation, but he put up 911 yards. He's one of those guys in that echelon with Waddle and everybody else. So, and the market is continuing to rise. 2 years ago, when Waddle got his deal, this would have been a $25 million deal for Higgins. But since we're 2 years removed and the market's gone up, now it's 28 something. So it's right in line. So Higgins getting this deal is huge for the Bengals, in my opinion. Keep the core together. When you're talking about the defense, Richie, first of all, they got rid of a lot of them, right? They have made a few small little adjustments and replacements, but they're going to do a big thing in trying to keep Hendrickson, and I believe they're going to keep him as well. Remember, I said on 4th and Forever on Friday, let me get rid of this myth that they can't afford them all. Right now, they're in negotiations and talking to Hendrickson. They will be able to afford all of them, ladies and gentlemen, okay? If you looked at their cap space, they had the money. And they'll still have money left over after they pay those three to do a few things on the defense. But I think that they're going to attack the defense in the draft. They're going to focus on the defense in the draft, building that defense. And last year, I think it had a lot to also do with the coordinator. They got a new coordinator. And let's not forget, you know how I like to go off a scale of 1 to 10, Richie? Yeah. If their defense last year was a 3 out of 10, getting to a 5 out of 10, and they're going to win at least 2 more of those games. I mean, have we forgotten the Bengals were putting up 30 points and still losing, 35 points and losing? Getting to a 5 out of 10 on defense is going to win at least 2 more games and put them in the playoffs. So I think that they'll make the necessary moves in the draft, get marginally better, And their goal is not to get the defense at a 9 out of 10 like the offense. Their goal is to get the defense to a 6 out of 10. And when you have a 10 offense and a 6 out of 10 defense, anything's possible. Anything's possible as you continue to get better and build the defense. So look for them, their first round pick, to be a defensive staple.
We'll see. Glenn, $10. Greer messed that draft up too. If Miami stayed put, Miami would not be in the position they are now. Miami not have traded for Tyreek, built through the draft.
Yeah.
What, the draft with Jamar?
Yeah, I think we could have had Chase or something like that.
Yeah, man. But
Chase
Jalen
was
Waddle.
4. Yeah, Smith through Waddle. Look at that. Smith won a Super Bowl before Waddle.
Why is that shocking?
No, they were debating, should the Dolphins draft Smith or Waddle? We went Waddle, Smith went after. Like,
who's the better receiver? She shouldn't be thinking about it too hard, man. Who's the better receiver, Devontae Smith or Jalen Waddle, man?
They're in the same echelon.
No, they're not. They're
not.
You
think Waddle's that much better?
Dude, are you? And you can't even make the, well, Waddle's got Tyreek. Devontae's got A.J. Brown, TD. What's your excuse now? He's also got a run-first quarterback.
Yeah, but that's a threat.
Oh, that's a threat.
You got to keep a spy on him, which opens up the secondary.
And it's not even
more.
like I don't even care about the numbers and the statistics of Waddle versus Smith. Just eye test, watching the games, watching the film. Who's the better receiver? It's Devontae Smith. Because I look at Jalen Waddle, man, there's really nothing about his game that's good besides speed. Like, what does he bring to the table besides being able to outrun people? He drops wide open passes here and there. His route running isn't elite. His separation isn't there. Like, I know you have this enamoration with Jalen Waddle that he's better.
No. You're fair. You're being fair right now, and I'll be honest.
I'm trying not to sound like a hater. Like, I'm genuinely asking. Like,
no, you're right, and I'm gonna be honest with you. His first 2 to 3 years, I would have argued you down on that, but I think Waddle is starting to put himself in a conversation that puts him a lot closer to your analysis right now. And I think people like me and other Dolphin fans, we're still holding on to those first 3 years where he put in some work. I'm not going to deny Waddle put in some work. He was actually, he playing a lot better. But now he's kind of fading away into this, are you really that good, or is it just the speed? You do have some big drops and, yeah, I think I'm not going to argue with you, Richie. He's starting to come into that realm where
a clip of Jalen Waddle routing somebody up,
but
going out there and just getting 5 yards of separation or something. Or
here's the thing,
or going out clips there and 50-50 mossing somebody. Or the only clips I see, it's like a drag route over the middle. He catches it and then he just outruns people to the boundary and then gets 70 yards. Which, by the way, is a positive. I'm not saying that's a negative. That's the only thing
there are clips, but it's hard to compare him when you compare him to guys who have elite quarterbacks or great quarterbacks.
You don't need a great quarterback to route up a corner.
Yeah, but here's why: because Waddle routes people up at times, but the ball isn't on the way, so you'll never see it.
Do you have any idea how many clips went viral that I found of Garrett Wilson routing up his corners and not getting the ball? Because of that exact thing you said, not because of the quarterback situation.
All right, I'm going to stop this conversation here because I feel like it's a door for you to open just to talk about Garrett Wilson.
It's not. We don't need to compare the two, but you saying it's the quarterback issue, I'm like, bro, I've seen Garrett Wilson route people up, even with Rodgers, by the way, him not getting the ball. Because we're like, yo, Garrett has this guy 7 yard separations on the floor, and Garrett's getting all frustrated and passionate. Speaking of Garrett Wilson, though, I think it's a good segue into the next segment, TD, because we do have a segment about Garrett Wilson. Because he gets his wish. Garrett Wilson is happy that Justin Fields is the new quarterback of the New York Jets. There's a lot of rumors over the offseason, TD, about Garrett Wilson not being happy about Aaron Rodgers or with the Jets, that he could request a trade. A lot of rumblings, and I think a lot of it was more talk than anything. I didn't really buy into it. And there was a report about Garrett Wilson being thrilled and him being happy that Justin Fields is the new quarterback for the New York Jets. And obviously they go back to their Ohio State days. and that's a positive. So I think that keeping Garrett Wilson happy is an important figure for a lot of reasons. I mean, if you're the Jets, you look at these wide receivers across the NFL, you want to keep them happy. And the reason why this is newsworthy, TD, is just because of the rumors of him potentially demanding a trade. So now that does not seem to be likely. And then the next thing is he's officially eligible to get a contract extension now that it's the official new league year. So that's the next question. Will the Jets go out there and ink up Garrett Wilson long-term now, or will they do it after this season? That's the next question. So your thoughts of him being happy about Justin Fields being his quarterback?
First of all, in regards to the contract, you better ink him up now. You better not wait to the end of the season. Ink him up now because it won't have major cap implications on you. He was a first round pick, right?
Yeah.
You better. He's completed 3 years.
Yes, sir.
So isn't this the time where they're eligible to also pick up his 5th-year option?
Yeah. In May is when you do that.
Yeah, so as soon as you pick up his 5th-year option, you better start working on that deal and have it done before training camp. Pick up the 5th, work on the deal. Why? Because here's what people don't realize. And by the way, do we know how much the 5th-year option would be around that time for a wide receiver?
Yeah, I saw
Is it going to be like 20?
Like 20. I saw it on the other.
Or something?
I don't know the exact number, but I did see it. It's like 26, maybe.
Yeah, roughly, give or take $1 million or $2, 26. Let's just sit there just for conversation purposes, right? Here's what people don't realize. Next year, Garrett Wilson is going to be paid how many millions of dollars? Do you know, Richie, off the top of your head?
From his rookie deal, not a lot.
Yeah, where was he picked? 10th. So that's roughly about that's in that $6 million range.
So 2025, his base is
7 million.
His cap hit is 6.5.
Yeah, 7 million. Okay. So here's what people don't realize. 7 million, 7 million this year, and then you have 26 next year, and then the new deal starts, right? You have to take that 26 and add the 7, which is 33. You take the 2 years, divide that's $16.5 million between the next 2 years, right? When receivers are going for $35 million, when you look at it from a 2-year standpoint, that's going to save you 16 to 35. And Garrett Wilson is about a $36 million wide receiver. They're going to give him about 36, Richie, because of Jamar Chase's deal. Yeah, I think that he's like a 32 guy, but Jamar Chase just pushed everybody up $1 million or $2 million. And I think they're going to land at about 35 to 36 for Wilson, which is going to be beyond massive. That's way more than I think he should, but he's going to push it. He's going to push it. Because he's going to be the weapon of the future. But what people need to realize is that equates to like a savings of $20 million this year and $20 million a year after, which is $40 million. And what you get to do is spread out those savings throughout the back end, the rest of that contract. So as Garrett Wilson's making $35 million a year, your cap hits are they're going to be a lot lower. You know, he's not going to reach over that 30-something threshold for another 4 years if you do it now. If you waited all the way out and franchise tag like Higgins and stuff like that, you're going to have massive cap hits from the get-go. So do it now. It gives you cap flexibility for the next 4 years on Garrett Wilson. Then start getting hit. But the guaranteed money is
what
pretty
every
much
Jets
gone.
fan wants to happen is that exact thing, the locking up Garrett Wilson long term. I mean, we all want that
early.
to happen. Early, you mean this offseason?
Yes, so that you can spread the savings out, spread the large number out.
Yeah, I think in a perfect world, but my only concern is Garrett and his camp say, yeah, we want to bet on ourselves like Jamar did. And
oh no! So he won't. So he wants to bet on himself and not even sign a deal.
I'm not saying he wants to do that. I'm just saying that's what Jamar Chase just did, and I feel like Jamar just set a precedent for these receivers because remember, Jamar was entering year number 4 last year, and the Bengals offered him a contract. He declined the contract because he knew he was going to ball out, and if he balled out the way that he thought he was, he's going to get a lot more, and look at the deal he just got. So he bet on himself. It's not like he didn't want to be a Bengal, but he wanted to even show, like, no, this is what I'm capable of. I'm not worth 30 mil. I'm worth 41 mil. Watch this. So I don't know if Jamar Chase just set a new standard for these receivers to not want to get the contract
Richie,
after the third year.
Put me solo screen. I got a message for Garrett Wilson. Listen, Garrett, do not bet on yourself, and not because of you. Listen, you are a dog. I don't like you because you're a Jet, but only because you're a Jet, but you're a great player. The reason I'm telling you not to bet on yourself is not because you can't do it, but don't get fooled by your college relationship with Justin Fields. You don't know what he's going to be as a Jet. Do not bet on yourself and turn down a massive contract this offseason just for more money if Justin Fields might ruin that for you. Don't do that. Go get your bag now.
And I don't think
that's all I'm
that.
saying.
I think that if the Jets offered him a lucrative extension, he would accept it. But I'm just throwing it out there because of what Jamar Chase just did. Do you think, though, money aside, contracts aside, when it comes to Justin Fields, it's been a week now since the news happened. There's a lot of rumblings about Justin Fields, and I've been listening to a lot of the national media covering the Jets signing Justin Fields. Do you think that this is going to be a potential home for Justin Fields? And do you think that this is kind of Justin Fields' last chance to prove to be a quarterback number one for a franchise? Because he went with Chicago, failed. Pittsburgh succeeded, but was never given a real chance. And now this is kind of his first opportunity of giving a chance, handing him the keys to the city. Do you think he's going to take it and run with it? Because you turn on the tape, you turn on the highlights, this kid's got so much talent. It's not like he has not shown potential in this league, but he's never really been given an opportunity. Do you think this is his last chance to prove it? If he fails here, is he done, or what do you think?
Well, technically, it's not his last chance. It's his last formal chance, where he'll be starting a season saying, here's your chance. Any other chance would have to happen when the starter gets hurt and you come in and ball and, wow, you rejuvenated yourself. So, yes, this is his last formal chance, okay? That's number one. Number two, finding a home with the Jets and making it work, we don't know. We don't know, Richie, man. Here's my thing with Justin Fields. Is he going to be a better passer? And you have Garrett Wilson, and they're probably going to get you another weapon in the draft, maybe in the second round or something like that. Will you be a better passer? Will you impact the game like Jaden Daniels? Will you impact the game like one of these guys?
I feel like he has the chance to do it, because how does Jaden Daniels impact the game? It's his mobility and that presence, which opens up the
Jaden's got that arm too, though, Richie.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. Jaden Daniels' mobility matched with that arm is the dynamic
accuracy,
threat.
Though.
Lamar Jackson came into the league raw, just a pure athlete. Everybody questioned, can he throw the ball? And then look where Lamar Jackson is now. He is one of the best passers in the league. Justin Fields has the athleticism, has the mobility, has all of that. But can he figure it out passing? I think that's the biggest question. Can he read a defense? Can he recognize blitzes? Is he not going to take too many hits? Can he stay in the pocket, make the throws? Can he go through? Like, that's really the big question that everybody's going to have about Fields. And I feel like now that he has an offense that's going to be built around him, this is his chance, man.
You're talking to somebody right now, Richie, who's rooting for the kid. I'm rooting for him. Even though he's a Jets fan and I hate that, so I really don't want him to have success. But I've always rooted for Justin Fields. I wanted him to be successful because it's like I feel like there's something there, but I can't put my finger on it to tell you what it is. And it better come out so that I can speak on it this year. Otherwise, it's over. But you know what? What I do like about Justin Fields, he gives you an element of the unknown that could be. It's not like he's not worthy of being written off.
Yeah, everybody has a what if last year. Like, what if the Steelers did not bench Fields? There were 4-2
Yeah.
with him. Like, I think that's a big thing that people are questioning. What if the Steelers kept Fields out there as their quarterback one for the last season?
Yeah.
He was successful. He had 10 touchdowns to 1 interception.
He better be putting that work in, man, because this is his chance. And you know what, Richie? I'm going to be honest. I don't think he's going to be a bum. I don't think he's going to be elite, but I think that he's going to help the Jets be competitive. Here's what I think the conclusion of this season is going to be for Justin Fields, and it's going to drive y'all crazy, Richie. He's going to do enough to put y'all in contention and really have you doing this in the offseason. I mean, he had a good season. You know, do you continue with this or do you, man? I mean, I technically I liked the season he had. It wasn't like crazy, but it was technically good. You know, it was like, that's what I think y'all gonna be stuck with. And y'all gonna be like, I think I'm okay building on to this one more year. And that's what you'll do. I could see him playing out the 2-year contract and y'all really knowing in 2026 if he's the guy or not.
Yeah, and I think there's so much upside and youth to his game, and it fits the modern day NFL, which is why it gives me some excitement. And you turn on his tape and you see what he struggles with, you see what he's good at. It's like, bro, we've seen these stories. We've seen stories out there. And if you look at his time with Chicago, things that I've learned doing more research on him, he had Chicago scoring points. He had Chicago thriving out there. Like, and that was just a mess of a situation. Like, the offense was not the issue with Justin Fields. He was a playmaker out there. And then with Pittsburgh, he was playing his best version of himself just to get back to the bench because of Russell Wilson. And that offense and that scheme was not built around him. So I'm excited to see what he looks like as a Jet quarterback. I'm taming my expectations. I'm not expecting him to be the franchise guy because I don't want to put myself up there and get disappointed. So that's how you got to look at it.
But I would just be checking for the upside with him. I think there's something there, and it's going to be on the staff to see if they can bring it out overall. We shall see, man.
Yeah, the coaching is the biggest thing. I mean, people were saying there's more pressure on Aaron Glenn because of the decision that he made of getting rid of Aaron Rodgers and bringing in Justin Fields, rather than there's more pressure on Justin Fields himself. Because Aaron Glenn made that decision, no more Aaron Rodgers, and he replaced Rodgers with Fields. Glenn's got to prove that he was right and believing in this kid in a way and build around him properly and give him the right resources and coach him up properly. Because you look at Fields, everybody says, yeah, he hasn't had proper coaching in his entire career outside of Pittsburgh, but Pittsburgh didn't really give him a chance. So it's a big test.
Listen, I have a personal thing with Fields. I remember in 2022 when he played the Dolphins, I'll never forget. It was like a November game. And when you look at it, he was like 61% completion. Not great.
That was when Mike Daniel was like, stop running to him.
No. But Richie, he went off in that game. He had 4 touchdowns. He had 3 passing touchdowns, though. Here's the deal. Like, he impacted the game in a way where I want you to think about this. He only had 123 passing yards the whole game. But he drove the team all the way in the red zone and would throw touchdowns in the red zone. 123 passing yards in that game. And he threw 3 touchdowns. But then what really killed us was his rushing. His rushing yards was 178, and he ran for a touchdown in that game. But the funny part about it is he had a 107 passer rating in that game as well because of those touchdowns, the 3 touchdowns.
Well, that was the game where he had that like 60-plus yard rushing touchdown.
Yeah. But it was crazy, and we won the game. Yeah, Miami won the game. It was like 35-32. I remember because that defense was just trash. It was when I was saying we went on this win streak that was impressive, but it was the Browns, Bears, and Lions or whatever, which all of them were pretty bad at the time. But I'll never forget that game because his mobility impacted it, and it kept the team alive when this team was dead in the water, Richie. They were literally just dead in the water. They had nothing going for themselves.
Well, that's why it gives me some excitement where he could be a potential game changer at that position. There's not a lot of guys at the quarterback spot that could single-handedly be a game changer. And I think his mobility is a big reason for that. And, of course, he's got to put it all together. So, like we always say, time will tell. Time will tell.
It always does.
Now, there was a big move that happened over the weekend that we have not been able to talk about, which is Cooper Kupp goes home. He's from Washington, went to College of Washington, and now he is with the Seattle Seahawks. The state of Washington is Cooper Kupp's home. He lands with Seattle on a 3-year, $45 million contract, $15 million a year. And he comes with, you look at Sam Darnold, you're like, yeah, well, where's his weapons? DK left. All these guys are leaving. Well, they got JSN as the number one, and now they replaced DK Metcalf with Cooper Kupp. They got Kenneth Walker still at the running back spot, and they got a new quarterback with Sammy D. Cooper Kupp going to Seattle, staying within the division, by the way, of the NFC West. Your thoughts of Cooper Kupp going back home to his hometown team?
I like it. It helps Sam out a little bit here. Let's see what they do with the offensive line. But Cooper Kupp in general, 3 years, $45 million. That's 15 per. That's a nice deal. And yeah, man, he goes home, which is always a good story. But JSN and Cooper Kupp, that's a nice combination. You got the youth, you got the veteran savviness, as long as he can stay healthy. Really good combination, and that should help Sam Darnold, have an easier transition over to Seattle. But again, what are they going to do with that O-line? Without that O-line being fixed, it doesn't much matter. So they need to make some massive improvements in that area, and then that way they'll have a real chance of really competing in that division. But getting another weapon off the board is always a good look. Big ups to Cooper Kupp and Seattle. I didn't think that's where it would be. What's up with the Patriots? I'm shocked they didn't get in on that. But I did hear rumors that a lot of people were talking about Cooper Kupp say he wanted to stay on the West Coast. He didn't want to go to the East Coast. A lot of teams were offering him on the East, and he told them he doesn't want to go out East.
Well, when are we going to realize that not everybody really wants to go to New England unless they pay the tax of overpaying? But who am I? Oh, I'm a hater now if I bring that up. Patriots had such a good offseason. Sorry. Keep going.
Richie, you are a hater, man.
I'm sorry. I just got to keep it a buck, bro. I got to keep it real. I'm sorry. I'm not bought into free agency hype. I've lived down that path many times. So congrats to Cooper Kupp on coming home. As he says in this post, Washington back across my chest. Let's go. So that's going to be cool.
I'm coming home. Coming home. Tell the world I'm coming
Sam Darnold
home.
MVP season loading. Woo, Sammy D. Now what's your expectations with Sam Darnold now that he got Cooper Kupp?
This helps. But again, you don't fix that O-line, you placate to Sam Darnold's biggest weakness, and that's pressure. So don't do all this for nothing and don't adjust the O-line. So look in the draft for them to be going O-lineman.
I don't know. I think it's going to be an interesting decision to see where the Seahawks go. There's some drama across the NFL with the Dallas Cowboys.
Breaking news, by the way.
Breaking news? How breaking?
Yeah, a record deal was just made. All-pro cornerback Derek Stingley Jr. has agreed to a 3-year, $90 million extension.
This is massive.
And $89 million guaranteed.
Whoa. This is massive for the Sauce Gardner market as a Jets fan. Wow. Breaking news. Derek Stingley Jr. agreed on a 3-year, $90 million. 89 of it guaranteed.
That's fully guaranteed. Y'all stop these shenanigans.
30 base value per year.
Richie, you see how they doing the shenanigans? They like, we can't give you the Deshaun Watson, but we'll give you 89 of the 90. Man, stop the shenanigans and make the 90 million guaranteed.
That is crazy.
Man. Yeah, that is though.
Derek Stingley just reset the cornerback market. Now all eyes are on the Jets with Sauce Gardner. This is where I wanted the Jets to be first on this because my biggest fear was Stingley getting his deal first. And now that's where Sauce is going to say, yeah, well, look what I'm getting now. So congrats to Derek Stingley Jr.
But Sauce ain't better than Stingley.
Well, Sauce has his resume is better than Derek Stingley, though. That's the thing that you keep forgetting.
Stop.
What do you mean? Nah. When you look at contracts, that's what you got to you look at their 3 years of work. Out of 3 seasons, Derek Stingley was better than Sauce 1 out of those 3 seasons. This most recent year.
Well, guess what? Are they gonna give Sauce his deal this offseason after they pick up the 5th? Wait,
yeah,
Sauce?
That's what I don't know. That's massive implications. So, $30 million a year, 89 guaranteed. Wow. That just completely reset the market, bro. Because the highest paid corner, I believe, wasn't even like north of 25.
Yeah, 24 or something like that. Ramsey was 24, and somebody recently got just over Ramsey. Just over.
Whoa. Massive news.
Mm.
So just making that a tweet real quick. That's some breaking news.
Contracts, man. Report. He said today was a massive day for Derek Stingley Jr., but also Sauce Gardner.
See? A new bar has been set. Because you know what Sauce Gardner has that Stingley doesn't? That you're going to dismiss?
All pros.
Yeah, bro. First team all pros is a big in contract. Why are you rolling your eyes? In a contract negotiation, bro, like he was the best player at his position for 2 seasons. When it comes to contracts, they're going to go to the table and say, look what I'm capable of. Like, that's a legit thing. I don't know why you keep dismissing that.
If I'm the Jets, I'll make them wait 1 more year.
You're going to make the Sauce wait 1 more year, but not Wilson?
Because that's a little tricky, Richie. I don't know. He coming off of a down year, man.
For his standards.
Yeah. But that kind of money, though, he need to go right back up to prominence. He ain't even got to be all pro, but you got to be top 5 next year. This year coming.
That's crazy. So massive, massive implications in the cornerback market. Well, let's get back to what we were talking about with the drama with the Dallas Cowboys. Micah Parsons not happy with what
Micah
Lawrence
Parsons
has to say. That's some craziness. DeMarcus Lawrence said, yeah, man, I mean, I was never going to win nothing over there. Your thoughts on this whole drama in Dallas?
I love honesty. I love honesty more. And when he said that, he's right. But I'm going to be honest. I side with Micah Parsons. Don't be chapping your mouth on your way out, man. Don't do that. And basically they didn't even want him anymore. And he's making it seem like he wanted to leave. They just didn't want you anymore. Micah Parsons is about to take new money and money they would have gave you. That's what it comes down to. But he's right, man. Like, I was listening to a podcast this weekend, Richie, and somebody made a great point about the Cowboys. They said, Dak Prescott. Because they had Dak Prescott in their top 5. And people were arguing, you don't even, like, this person didn't even have Jalen Hurts in the top 10. And how they broke it down made me realize, man, they're right. Dak Prescott's no different from Tua Tagovailoa. He don't win the big games. He don't win the big games. So what? He could put up 400 yards against bums and 4 touchdowns. But when it matters most in the big games, he don't show up. But the one thing you can say about Jalen Hurts, the stats may not be all crazy good, but every big game, Jalen Hurts show up and he's one of the best players on the field. He actually balls out. So when you think about that, man, you can't win nothing with Dak Prescott. He's just another one of those guys who's good enough to really obliterate bad defenses and bad teams. But when it's mano-a-mano, dog against dog, greatness against greatness, he folds. And you know what's funny about that, Richie?
What's that?
The Cowboys had already endured that for about 15 years. People forget about I always said this about Tony Romo. It don't matter about all this 12, 13 win regular season crap. Watch what happened in the first round when it mattered most. Watch what happens in week 15, 16, or 17 to win a division. Romo always bombed out like that. And as soon as they got Dak, I said, Dak's starting to look like one of them guys that's just like another Tony Romo. But I left it alone for many years, and it was just revived for me. Man, now that you look up and a lot of years have passed, yeah, Dak Prescott is Tony Romo 2.0.
But what does this have to do with Dak?
Because you can't win. You can't win in Dallas. DeMarcus Lawrence is right. You can't win when you got these quarterbacks who are good enough not to be good enough. You need a quarterback that in the big moment, they're going to show up the brightest, even if you lose. Remember 2 years ago when Jalen Hurts lost in the Super Bowl? He had that fumble or whatever, but did he not ball out in that game? He balled out in that game. This Super Bowl, he balled out. This NFC Championship game, he was balling out. This divisional round, he was balling out. And this is what it's about. In the big game, do you got a guy who's going to rise and really compete and give the team a chance? If you don't have one of those as a starter, and that don't guarantee you a Super Bowl, but if you don't have one of those as a starter, y'all can't win football games when it matters most. So DeMarcus Lawrence is right. But Micah is also right, man. Keep that to yourself on your way out, man. So I get it.
Yeah, that's the thing that I don't like. It's the whole sentiment of him just, why is he talking like that right now? That's how I looked at it. Like, you shouldn't be.
But it's real talk too, though, Richie, man. It's real talk, though. It's real talk, man. That's what's missing in football is the real talk. Nobody want to be honest. They want to live through the issue instead of being honest and trying to address it right away. These players know, man.
I get it.
They'll get on camera and be like, oh, he's an excellent player, but deep down behind closed doors, man, we ain't never going nowhere with this cat.
It's true. In other news, the Atlanta Falcons are keeping Kirk Cousins for now. Paid $10 million. Do you think it's worth them keeping Kirk Cousins as the backup at that price? Or do you think they should have got rid of him? You know, they're obviously handing the keys over to Michael Penix as the starter this upcoming year. And they gave Kirk Cousins that loaded contract. I also saw a stat that Kirk Cousins has more career earnings than Tom Brady, which is unreal.
He kept taking them 1 and 2 year deals with a lot of guarantees.
I know.
It was hard to release them.
This is wild stuff. So your thoughts about the Atlanta Falcons sticking with Kirk Cousins, not getting rid of him? Some people assume that they're going to cut him and somebody can sign him for a cheap deal, but they decided to eat that money to have a high-priced backup insurance plan behind Michael Penix.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a great move by Atlanta because here first of all, they don't want to keep him. But I mean, when you look at the dead money from cutting him, it's like, is it worth it to save $10 million or whatever it is? You know? It's not worth it. And if Penix get hurt, we still trying to win something. So Kurt's better than Russell Wilson. Kurt's better than Aaron Rodgers right now. Kurt's better than everybody available. And there are 3 teams right now trying to figure out their QB situation. So you know what? We're going to keep Kirk Cousins and we're going to play him this year if Penix gets hurt, and we're going to have the best backup in the league. Or one of y'all can give us a phone call and make the right trade. I don't see nothing wrong with it. It's a win-win. Who cares about the few dollars? We were going to have to eat massive dead cap anyway. Let's go ahead and let this year play out, and then we don't have to deal with dead cap in the future. We only guaranteed 2 years. And here's the beautiful part that nobody's talking about, Richie. Have you thought about the teams he could actually be traded to?
No.
We know the Giants are out there, right? We know that, teams like Tennessee, but they're going to get a quarterback, but also Pittsburgh. He could get traded to Pittsburgh. But you know where he could also be traded to? Back
Vikings?
home. Back home. He could.
Well, speaking of that, I think that's a perfect segue into this Aaron Rodgers situation. Because the update on Aaron Rodgers, TD, is that the Steelers and the Giants reached out to Aaron, waiting for Aaron's response. But Aaron is reportedly waiting for Minnesota to get back to Aaron if they're interested.
I got the report last night with Kevin O'Connell. I don't know if you heard about the 50-50. Yeah, a report came out like literally late last night that someone close to the situation in Minnesota is saying that Kevin O'Connell is 50-50 on bringing Aaron Rodgers in. He's 50-50 on it. Yes, he does.
And retirement's also an option for Aaron Rodgers still, because if I think there's a chance where if Minnesota says no, he may even retire instead of going to the Steelers or Giants.
I think he'll play for the Steelers, not the Giants. You retire if the Giants are the only option. But Minnesota, what's going on with J.J. McCarthy? Is it just the youth and they feel like the roster is ready to win a Super Bowl now?
It's also the injury. He had a setback. What if you hand J.J. the keys and he gets hurt in preseason again? Then what? Season's already a wrap. I mean, that's the big concern. The big concern. I mean, if I'm Minnesota,
so they're gonna sell it to the kid. We want to make sure you heal properly. We're not trying to rush you.
Yeah, if I was Minnesota, I would have brought Sam back on that same contract Seattle gave Sam, because that Sam Darnold contract. We didn't really break it down. That is such a good deal for the Seahawks.
Yeah, it is. It is
really good deal.
But a report saying that Aaron Rodgers may want $33 million a year or something like that.
Yeah,
I don't know how true that is.
Yeah,
but that's Sam's money, right?
Yeah, pretty much. So, I don't know. It probably won't be a long-term, 3-year deal, though, with all these, things you got to figure out down the line. It would be a 1 year, maybe 2, if that. So, I think Aaron Rodgers he's waiting for the Vikings, and the Vikings got to make their decision. And, bro, if the Vikings want to win a Super Bowl, they're not winning one with JJ this year, let's be honest. And I'm not saying they're going to win with Rodgers, but
I'm not going to lie. KOC need to get this done. Let me tell you this. I wouldn't rule the Vikings out of winning a Super Bowl. You brought Aaron Rodgers in. I don't care. Y'all get mad at me in the chat. Y'all say whatever you want. I do not view Aaron Rodgers last year like many of you do. I don't think he stunk last year. I really don't. I feel like he coming fresh off of an injury, getting his feet wet. And let's not act like the Jets were all there, like they really had everything together. I feel like Aaron Rodgers is still good enough to lead a team to the Super Bowl. And one of the main reasons I believe that in Minnesota, what they've done on the defensive side of the football this offseason, come on, man. They ready. Brian Flores ain't in a situation anymore where it's like, well, I got to turn these young guys and these no-name guys into name guys. All them guys went off and got paid. You know that, Richie, right? A lot of them guys that were no names, they have gone to other teams and gotten paid. But what did Minnesota do? They went and got guys that were actually even better, that have already been proven. Now you add that with a few draft picks and some young players, man, Flores is going to have a top 3 defense this year. You bring Aaron Rodgers into that fold with turnovers and everything, man, Minnesota would go off with Aaron Rodgers this year, in my opinion. And they made a few adjustments on the O-line to make it better. I'm sorry. If you miss out on this opportunity going with a young guy that is gonna have some growing pains, you're missing mightily. You gotta bring in the veteran, and that was the problem with Sam Darnold. As great as he was in the season, Aaron Rodgers ain't finna fold in a big moment like he did. He's not finna cower down like he did. Sam was, man, I'm telling you, Sam was second guessing, hesitating. That's why they was losing. So you got KOC see it. He knows why they derailed last year, and he knows that Aaron Rodgers wouldn't have that problem. And you know what I think it is, Richie? You know what I think it is? I think that KOC believes Aaron Rodgers is not going to play as well as Sam did in the regular season, but Aaron Rodgers is going to play better than Sam did when it matters most.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
That makes sense. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. And you can argue the Vikings are the most quarterback-friendly team in the league. I mean, they've proven to be able to thrive with Josh Dobbs in the limited sample size. Sam Darnold, of course, we just saw. Throw in Aaron Rodgers. I mean, with those playmakers, with that scheme, bringing back Aaron Jones, Hendrick. I mean, their system is just proven to succeed. So, if I'm Aaron Rodgers, that's where I want to go. If you do want to go out on a bang as all-time great quarterback, and of course fulfilling your Brett Favre, your inner Brett Favre. So, we'll see. Big shout out to BetUS as always for sponsoring Roundtable Sports Network here on Wake Up a Ball. Big time shout out to BetUS. We're very fortunate to have them. BetUS has a media company called BetUS TV that we're very fortunate to be linked up with. So big shout out to them as always. Much love to BetUS. TD, anything you want to say before we wrap things up this morning on Wake Up and Ball?
Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Great show today. Man, things are going down in the NFL, and I don't think it's going to slow down this week. You're going to hear more rumblings, but I think trades are about to be in order, Richie. I could feel a blockbuster trade this offseason. I don't know who it's with, but I can feel it coming.
It's already been happening.
Yeah, but I feel something massive, like a Mahomes to Miami or something.
All right. Well, we got to wrap up now before TD starts getting in delusional talk. Folks, don't forget to hit the like button on your way out of the show. We appreciate each and every single one of you guys tuning in so much to the show. We love you all, and we will see you later on 4th and Forever, folks. All right? 4th and Forever live today at 2 p.m. EST, which we are always very, very fortunate and very excited about. So don't forget to go check us out over there on 4th and Forever. We'll see you later. Peace.